Last fall, I bought a tackle box at an estate sale in a small Ohio town for $9. In the bottom tray, under a coil of rotted line, there was a wooden minnow with 5 treble hooks hanging off it and 2 little glass eyes staring up at me. That one lure was worth more than everything else in that house that I bought that day combined. Green metal, 3 trays, smelled like a pond. The lady selling it apologized for the rust and said her father had passed and nobody in the family fished. Tackle boxes get handed down and never opened. Somebody's grandfather packed it in 1962, and it has been sitting in a garage ever since. I am the fellow who buys the boxes nobody wants. 40 years of estate sales and farm auctions across the Ohio Valley, and a tackle box is the first thing I open. Today I'm counting down 10 old fishing lures sitting in tackle boxes right now. And I'm going to teach you the 2 things that date a wooden lure before you ever read a name: the eyes and the hardware. Before we start, tell me in the comments where you're watching from and whether your family had a tackle box that never got thrown out. I read everyone. And stay with me to number 6. That is the one I handed back across a table for $11, and I have thought about it ever since. Now, the honest part first, same as always. Most old lures are $5 lures. Out of 100 that come out of a tackle box at a farm sale, 80 are plastic, chipped, and made after 1960. 10 might bring $20 to $60. A small handful climb past a few hundred, and one in a very long while is the one that pays for the truck. But here's what makes lures different from anything else I handle. The good ones are small, they're light, and they got packed away instead of thrown away. Nobody throws out a tackle box. They just stop opening it. So here are the 2 clues, and they work even if you don't know a single brand name. First, look at the eyes. Second, turn it over and look at how the hooks attach. Collectors call that the rig, and it changed by the decade. The eyes first. If the lure has real glass eyes, little beads set into the wood, and they catch the light different than paint does, you are almost certainly holding something made before 1940. Glass eyes ran from about 1900 to the late 30s. When you see a painted-on eye, a circle of paint and nothing more, you are in the post-war era, and that is mass production. Now the rig. Here is the ladder, and it is the whole trade. Earliest, roughly 1900 into the 19-teens, cup rig. You'll see a small metal cup recessed right into the wood with a screw eye through the middle holding the hook. That cup is set into the body, not sitting on top of it. Then through the 20s and into the 30s, L rig, a flat metal piece bent in an L that pins the hook against the body. Heddon used this one heavily from the late teens into the 30s. After that, 2-piece and split ring hardware. And finally, 40s into the 50s, surface rig. The hardware simply screws onto the outside of the body. Nothing recessed, nothing pinned. Cheap and fast. So, glass eyes plus a cup rig means you are holding something close to 100 years old. Painted eyes plus surface hardware means Grandpa bought it at the hardware store after the war. Read the eyes and the rig before you read the paint. All right, let's count. Number 10, the post-war painted eye plug. I'm starting here because this is what is actually in the box. Open any tackle box in America, and you'll find a handful of these. Painted eyes, hardware screwed to the surface, plastic or cheap wood. Common ones are $15 to $40 lures. That's the truth of it. But learn this one anyway because it is your control. Once you've held 20 painted eye lures, a glass eye will stop you cold across a table. Your eye learns the difference before your brain does. At an auction in Circleville, I bought a full tackle box for $6 because the top tray was all painted eye plastic. Everybody looked at the top tray and walked. The bottom tray was not plastic. Your checklist. 1. Look at the eye, painted circle, or glass bead. 2. Check whether the hardware sits on the surface or is set into the wood. 3. Don't judge a box by its top tray, ever. Number 9 is the one that everybody's grandfather owned. The Heddon Crazy Crawler. This is a wooden plug with 2 big metal wings on the sides that flap when you reel it. It is one of the most recognizable lures ever made, and there are a lot of them out there. In common red and white, a crazy crawler is a $40 lure, but the same body in a scarce factory color has sold for around $300. Same lure, same size. The paint is the entire difference. That is the lesson of this whole niche in one object. With lures, color is not decoration. Color is the serial number. At a church sale in Waverly, there was a coffee can of plugs for $2. Most were common. One crazy crawler in it was not a color I recognized, and unfamiliar is the good kind of surprise. Your checklist. 1. Look for the 2 metal wings. 2. Photograph the color and look it up before you sell anything. 3. Check the hardware and the eyes to place the decade. Number 8 is a name people forget was ever a giant. South Bend wooden minnows. South Bend, out of Indiana, was one of the big makers. Collectors talk about a big 5, and South Bend is on that list, along with Heddon, Chub, Pflueger, and Shakespeare. Their wooden minnows look like what a child draws when you say fish lure. A fat wooden body, a propeller at the nose, treble hooks down the sides. Some have glass eyes. Honest range is $60 to $200 for a decent one, and the early glass-eyed examples in strong paint go higher. Here's the trap. South Bend lures often have no name on the body at all. The name, when there is one, is on the metal, the prop, or the hardware. And metal is exactly what corrodes in a damp garage. So people find an unmarked wooden minnow and assume it's homemade. Your checklist. 1. Look at the propeller for stamped lettering. 2. Glass eyes push it before 1940. 3. Unmarked wood is not the same as worthless wood. Number 7 made reels first and lures second, and that matters. Number 7. Shakespeare. Shakespeare is a name most people associate with rods and reels, and that is exactly why their wooden lures slip past. They are on the Big 5 list with everybody else. Their early wooden baits carry glass eyes and the recessed hardware of the period, and they were built for a market that expected the same quality as the reel. Range on a decent early example runs $80 to $250. And better paint and rarer models climb from there. The tell here is the whole package rather than one mark, a wooden body, glass eyes, and hardware set into the wood rather than screwed on top. When you see all 3 together, you are in the right decades, no matter whose name is on it. At a barn sale near Piketon, a cigar box of lures went for $4 because they were all rusty. Rust on the hooks is not rust on the lure. Hooks are replaceable, paint is not. Your checklist. 1. Wooden body. 2. Glass eyes. 3. Hardware recessed, not surface mounted. Number 6 is the one I let go, and I want to tell you exactly how it happened. Number 6. Pflueger with the Bulldog. Pflueger, out of Akron, Ohio, started making lures back in the 1880s, and they did something that helps us enormously. They stamped a little Bulldog logo on the propeller blade, not on the body, on the metal prop at the nose. That Bulldog is the whole find. Early 20th century examples and earlier are worth hundreds of dollars, and the scarce ones go past that. Here's my number 6, a tackle box at a yard sale in Jackson, $11, and I had it in my hands. The props were black with tarnish. I turned one, saw shaping in the metal I couldn't read, decided it was corrosion, and set the box back down on the table. A fellow behind me bought it without opening it twice. It wasn't corrosion, it was a stamp under tarnish, and a minute with a rag would have told me. That's the lesson. Tarnish hides marks, and it costs nothing to wipe. Your checklist. 1. Look at the propeller, not the body. 2. Wipe the metal before you decide anything. 3. The Bulldog is small. Get it under a light. Quick pause. If this is useful to you, hit subscribe. One of these goes out every week, pulled from real estate sales and real auctions, and I'd rather you catch the one that matches whatever's in your own garage. Number 5, the Creek Chub Pikie in an unusual color. Creek Chub out of Garrett, Indiana ran from around 1907 into the 70s, and they made some of the prettiest lures anybody ever assembled. The Pikie is their workhorse, a long wooden minnow with a metal lip at the nose. Common Pikies are everywhere, but Creek Chub ran a seemingly endless list of special order colors, and that is where the money hides. Collectors chase the colors, not the shape. A good one in an uncommon factory color runs a couple $100 to $600, and the truly scarce ones go well beyond. Your checklist: 1. Look for the metal lip at the nose. 2. Glass eyes, place it early. 3. If the color is not one you have seen before, stop and look it up. Number 4 is the same company with one thing added. Number 4. Creek Chub with the original box. Same lure as number 5. One difference, the little printed cardboard box it came in. A Creek Chub in pristine shape with its printed box has sold for over $600, and that box is doing a large share of the work. On lures, the box is not packaging, it is provenance, and it is often rarer than the lure, because everybody threw the box away. So here is the rule that costs people the most money in this entire hobby. If you find a lure in a box, do not separate them. Not to photograph it, not to store it, not ever. They are worth more together than the sum of the two apart. At an estate in Bainbridge, a shoebox held 9 lures and a stack of flattened cardboard boxes that the family had folded to save space. Folded, not thrown out. That family saved themselves several $100s without knowing it. Your checklist: 1. Keep lure and box together, always. 2. Look for the model number printed on the box end. 3. Do not flatten a box to store it. Number 3 is where the wooden minnow began. The Heddon Dowagiac minnow. James Heddon of Dowagiac, Michigan, is often credited with inventing the wooden fishing lure, and the word to look for is that town name, Dowagiac. It is stamped on the props or on the metal collars, not on the wood. The early Dowagiac minnows have glass eyes and cup rig hardware, the recessed cup we talked about at the beginning, which puts them right at the front of the whole hobby. Range on these runs from the high hundreds into the low thousands depending on model and condition, and the earliest and scarcest go far past that. Your checklist: 1. Read the props and collars for Dowagiac. 2. Cup rig plus glass eyes means earliest era. 3. Count the hook hangers. The early underwater minnows carry several down each side. Number 2 is the same maker further up the mountain. Number 2. Early Heddon underwater minnows. The Zaragoza is the ancestor of a lure people still fish today, and the early Heddon underwater minnows are what serious collectors build entire collections around. We are now in the range where a single lure runs into the low thousands, and the rare color and rare model combinations go past that. I am not going to give you a tidy number here, and I want to be straight about why. At this level, the price is set by exact model, exact color, exact hardware and condition, and a number I make up would be worse than no number. What I can tell you is the shape of it: glass eyes, cup or L-rig hardware, the Dowagiac name, and paint that has not been touched. Your checklist: 1. Dowagiac on the metal. 2. Glass eyes. 3. Original paint. And we are about to talk about why that word matters more here than anywhere else. Number 1. The earliest wooden minnows before 1910. Cup rig set into the wood. Glass eyes. 5 sets of treble hooks hanging off a body the size of your thumb. Paint that has never been touched. To show you what the top of this mountain looks like, the record price paid at auction for an antique lure is $101,200. One lure. 6 figures. Now, I am not telling you that one is in your garage. It isn't. What I am telling you is that this is a real market with real money in it, and the people at the top of it know exactly what the rest of us are handing over for $5. Your checklist for number one. 1. Cup rig. The metal cup set into the wood, not screwed on top. 2. Glass eyes, not painted circles. 3. Original paint, untouched, even if it is chipped. Chipped original beats perfect repaint every single time. If you think you have one, do not clean it, do not repaint it, and do not sell it at a yard sale. Photograph it and take it to somebody who knows. Now, condition. And with lures, this section is worth more than the whole countdown. Paint is everything. On a knife, you can wipe the grime off and nothing is lost. On a wooden lure, the paint is the value, and it is fragile, and it is gone forever the second you touch it wrong. So never repaint a lure, not to make it pretty, not to fix a chip. A repainted lure is worth a fraction of the same lure with honest wear, and any collector spots a repaint across a room. Never scrub one. Water gets into old wood through a paint chip and swells the body from the inside, and rusty hooks are not a problem. Hooks are replaceable, and everybody knows they are. Just do not throw the original hooks away. Here's the part that stays with me. A tackle box is the most personal thing in a man's garage. He chose every one of those lures, one at a time, over 40 years. Then he passes, and the box goes for $5 because it smells like a pond. And the buyer knows exactly what's in the bottom tray. Nobody teaches the family what to look for. There's no pamphlet. That's not a conspiracy, it's an information gap. And this video closes it. 10 lures down, and it is the same thing every time. The money is not behind glass in a museum. It is in the bottom tray, under the rotted line, in the box nobody has opened since your grandfather packed it. So tonight, go get the tackle box. Open the bottom tray. Look at the eyes, glass or painted. Turn one over and look at the hardware, set into the wood or screwed on top, and wipe the propeller before you decide anything. Then come tell me in the comments what you found. I answer every single one, and your lure might be the one I open with next week. We go after old cast iron, because there are skillets holding shed doors open right now worth more than the shed. I'll see you then.